it's Jed Arkfeld, and I'm back this week for a Manic Monday video for Stamped Silly. Let's just get right after this and see how we do. I'm going to start today with a card base of Melon Mambo, and it's cut the long way, so it's 11 by 4 1/4, and I just scored it and trimmed it in half. And then I have a piece of, that'll work perfect, a piece of designer series paper, and this comes from Modern Medley. And let's see, it is cut already at 4 inches. We're going to cut it at 5 1/4, just so we have part of that cardstock peeking out from around the card. Okay, I'm just going to adhere that down. Okay, so let's get that stuck right on there. Oops. Alright, that looks good. And then, you know what, I've just got some scraps laying around here that we're going to use, and I'm just going to cut this into a banner shape. We're going to make a birthday card. This week my daughter turns 4, so I need a birthday card for her birthday. So we're going to take these little pieces of scraps and we're going to make some banners. So I'm going to cut this down to 2.5 inches. That should be pretty good. And then this little strip, oh, let's see. Let's cut that about there and see how we do. Okay, so I think those two will work. And you know what? I'm just going to eyeball this to cut this into a banner shape. It should be okay. And then, but this one, I am going to make a mark at the center. Let's see. Okay, so I just made a pencil. I just used my grid paper and made a pencil mark about where the center of that is. And I don't want this banner to have a real sharp V cut in it, so I'm just doing a very low angle V cut in it. I definitely could have used the banner framelits to cut this banner, but honestly I don't want it cut that deep of a V. So sometimes it's easiest just to find your center and make the cut. Okay, so I'm just going to layer these two pieces on like this, and this piece also. You guys don't see me using snail very often, but today it's just sitting here, so I'm like, okay, let's go with it. Alright, now I'm going to set this card aside. It's pretty close. And I've just got a scrap of Melon Mambo here, and I'm going to use some black embossing powder because it's already out on my table. And also, I've already, I've got the Happy Birthday to You stamp from Another Great Year, and we're going to use that and just ink it up with Versamark. And then we're going to heat emboss that with some black embossing powder so that it really, really pops off this Melon Mambo paper. Okay, so I've got that. And we'll sprinkle on our embossing powder. That's pretty good. Okay, we'll set that aside, and then I'm going to heat that up real quick. Oops, I see one little spot where I need just a titch more. Okay, that's better. Okay, so let's heat this up quickly. Oopsie. Here's our heat gun. Okay, so I have that all heated up and ready to go. Now I'm just going to use a Melon Mambo marker, and we're going to give this a little bit of character. I'm just going to take the marker and color in where the ribbon were to fold over, and I'm also going to highlight that happy birthday or happy to you, those words, and make those try and pop just a little bit more than they do. I feel like they kind of get lost in that ribbon portion, and this is an easy way to make them stand out just a little bit more. It's not significant, but it definitely helps. Okay, now another fun thing I'm going to do is still with the brush tip of this marker, I am going to just create some shadow effects here along the birthday sentiment portion. And maybe that'll give this a little bit more pizzazz. And I'm just, you know what, I'm not even being very picky. I'm just brushing the marker across, kind of overlapping a little bit into the black embossing powder. But it really kind of helps that give it some dimension, I should say. Okay, that looks pretty good. I know you probably can't see that real great, but it definitely gives it a little bit of dimension. You might be able to see it better in the actual photo. Okay, so this is probably going to be the longest portion of this. Creating just the sentiment is probably the longest portion of this card, but I'm going to fussy cut this out, and hopefully it won't take me too terribly long. But as I trim this up, you know, it's not too bad. There are quite a few curves on it, but I'm going to show you a quick little trick here with the curves. If you don't get the curves cut just right, maybe if I lay this down, there's a few sharp edges there. You know what? All I do is I take my fingernail and just smooth those out, and then they kind of disappear, so you don't end up with a sharp point on a circle. It definitely is quick and easy, and it does the trick. I know not everyone likes to fussy cut a lot of things, so I try and make it as easy as possible. I also, if you notice, I am mainly turning my cardstock when I fussy cut, and not my scissors. If you just, especially on a long, I'm going to get that off of there. I find that if you can turn your paper more than your scissors, you won't end up with a lot of those sharp points. Okay, we're almost done here on the back stretch. And yeah, if you notice there, I'm turning as I'm closing my scissors, and it just gives you a more smooth cut. It does, you know what, it probably takes some practice, but I like to fussy cut, so it's not anything that bothers me terribly. Okay, there we have it. So I'm going to get those scraps out of the way, and we'll trim this little corner back off of there. And there's our sentiment. Here's our card. We're going to pop this up on the card. And also, before I do that, you know what? I see I've got some ink that I've mixed with rubbing alcohol. It's just some ink droppers, and you know what? I don't even know what this color is, but it looks like it's going to go with that Bermuda Bay pretty good. So I'm going to try and get some, ink splatters on here. There we go. You'll see I just tapping. Yeah, we'll get ink everywhere. It'll be good. There we go. Kind of gives you a good confetti look. But if you I'm just giving it a tap, and you'll get some splatters there. That looks good. Okay, so now let's put the sentiment portion on with some pop dots, Stampin' Dimensionals, I should say. Whatever you happen to call them in your craft room. Pull this one up. Remember, I'm not shy about using my Stampin' Dimensionals. I like them. Okay, last one here, maybe. Okay, so let's pop this on there, and we are just about finished because I think I'm going to put on some, let's put on some candy dots real quick. And this will add to that confetti look that maybe those drops of ink gave us. And these are just the Brights candy dots. They definitely give a fun spark to your card, so don't be afraid to use them. There we have it. We are done with today's card. I hope you enjoyed it. It's really pretty quick and easy. The hardest thing was cutting out the sentiment, but you can handle it. It's not that big of a deal. I hope you can join me next week for another Manic Monday video. It's been great, and we'll see you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.